Good morning. How's everybody doing this morning? Good to see y'all could jump on. Appreciate it as always. Hey, thanks for the hearts. I appreciate it. Real quick, just some quick instructions as always. Hey, doing great. Thanks for being on. Again, hey, listen, if you want to share this with folks, swipe, I guess, to the right, I think it is. I haven't even verified these instructions, but good morning. But again, if you want to share it, welcome. We always welcome, obviously, your team, your friends, whoever you want to have join in. And again, as always, thanks for the hearts. Appreciate it. If you like something you hear, good morning, Linda. Please, tap that bottom towards the bottom right of the screen and throw those hearts out there. I appreciate it. Hey, today's training is on the importance of third party. Really important. This one, this took me a while to learn. I think. The reason for that, for a lot of us, is looks like Corey Rudder's on. Good morning. When we're in a job and we learn a position, obviously, they kind of give us that and say, okay, go get it. And we are taught to be the expert in our given field, which is awesome. So we try to carry that over and translate that into our business as we get started. And what I hear some folks say is, man, I'm talking and talking and talking to people, or I'm worse yet, I'm talking till I'm blue in the face and nobody's listening. And well, that tells me two things. One is that we're talking more than we're listening. Again, God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, right? So we need to listen more than we talk. But the other part is that tells me that person's not using third party. So third party is so important. And one of the reasons is until we can build and create our own story, what we really need to do is use somebody else's story. So meaning, again, whether it's a product story, an income story, whatever the case may be, there are other people that have had more success than we have when we get started. So what we need to do is share their success and use their success as the example until we have our own. And even when we have our own, that doesn't mean that we're talking about us. That's just not the way this works. So a lot of different sources of third party. It could be a tool that you have. We obviously we have videos, we have a magazine, we have local, regional, national presentations, and that kind of thing. So, whatever the case may be for what you're trying to use for that particular situation. So it could obviously be your sponsor, your upline leader, whatever the case is. So. Make sure you're putting those to use for yourself. Another thing is, you're not a prophet in your own hometown. It's funny. Of course, we're in the health and wellness industry. So, look, we all have our prior life that we have, and it is what it is, right? So, whether here's a good example. 3 weeks ago, if you're brand new, 3 weeks ago before you joined with your particular company, maybe you were out, and I'm not here to judge anybody, but maybe you're out, drinking with the buddies or something like that, and and then 3 weeks later, now you're in a health and wellness company, and people know you're not a health and wellness expert, so you don't need to be. So again, and there may be people from other companies, so maybe it's, maybe your example could be a little different than that. But, what's important is that we're the messenger, not the message. A lot of people try to be the message because, again, we want to be the expert. That's what we're taught to be in our job. So you need to kind of reverse that thinking when you're in this industry. So in that process, here's an important part in using third party. So when you, say you're doing a third party call, three-way call. So you invite your upline leader, your sponsor, whatever the case may be, to be on a call with you to be the third party. So what you do is you introduce and edify them. You're making them the expert. Now, and this is such an important part of the process, and we try to teach this as much as we can. And sometimes we learn the hard way. Sometimes we can deal with it up front. But when you introduce somebody as, yeah, trust me, I'll be blocking those folks. Thank you for sharing that. Anyway, when you introduce the person as the expert, they're the expert. So what you do is you introduce and edify them. Good morning, and then literally mute your phone if it's a three-way call, or if you let's say it's a 2-on-1 where you're meeting with somebody in person. When you introduce your upline leader and you're sitting there, you're silent from that moment on. When you break in on the phone call or you interrupt when you're there in person, what you're doing is you're saying, hey, I kind of told you that person's the expert, but they're not really. They don't really know what they're talking about. I'm really the expert, and you're pulling the credibility back away from that person. In reverse, though, when you introduce the person as the expert and then you give them the stage or give them the floor, then what you're doing is, again, you're making them the expert and you're confirming that. So you let them do what they're there to do for you. And when you do that and you introduce and edify, you give them the credibility, they will give you the credibility in return. So that's such an important part of the process that you can't interrupt. So I hope that makes sense. Listen, the bottom line is this, is when you're in a conversation, if it's you on the phone, you in person, whatever the case may be, you need to be guiding that conversation in all cases towards third party. So again, whether it's a tool, whether it's an upline leader, an individual, a video, whatever the case may be, that conversation needs to be going in that direction. So make sure you're doing that. And it's basically, again, it's pointing towards talking about that third party. And that's really it. Today's message is a little bit shorter, but what I want to do is close with this. And I love this. This is a great statement from the one and only Jim Rohn. And that's, look, don't wish it were easier, wish you were better. So let's all grow and get better together. And let's all go get today. We look forward to talking with you tomorrow morning. Have a great day.